LeeRosenberg. Come on, Housing Works!
So I do location scouting for TV and film. That means I find places that they film television shows. I was scouting a neighborhood in Staten Island where I was told if I screamed, no authority would find me or hear me. So usually they give us a description of what they want and we go out and get it. Only this time the director, he actually had some choices. He took a drive out himself. He took that initiative and just took down a bunch of addresses that he wanted to film at. The main house he wanted was this group of heroin addicts. And we actually made a deal with them. We paid them $10,000, put them up in a hotel for about 5 days, and every once in a while they would just call us for more cash. The challenge that I had was finding this house around the corner. They wanted something nearby where they could shoot this short scene, and the director picked this blue old house that was next to these closed down elevated train tracks. So I get the address, I walk up to the door, and this man who's probably in his late 40s comes up, and he lets me know that it's not his house. His mother owns a house, and he'll just have to check with her and get back to me. So I go back to my car, and I call my boss and just let him know, listen, I spoke to someone who lives there, but most likely, I'll have to talk to the mother, get approval. Meanwhile, I actually see him walk over to my car, so I think it's good news, and he knocks on my window. So I roll it down, and he takes my business card, crumples it up, throws it in my face, and says, we're not interested. So I called my boss back, and he goes, but did you talk to the mother? And I said, no, but I'm pretty sure that was a hard no. And he says, well, I want you talking to the mother. So I wait a few hours, and I go back, and I knock on the door, and the man comes back, and he goes, she's not home. I told you, we're not interested. So I call my boss back, and I was like, I think they're not interested. Maybe I should look into another option. And he's like, did you talk to the mother? No. Talk to the mother. So I'm thinking she must work. The son obviously didn't give me too many details, so I'll just kind of go back around 5 o'clock, 5:30 when most people get home from work. And I go back, and he's in the back of the living room, and he sees me knock this third time. And he just goes red in the eye. And he just starts storming. I don't even think twice. I just sprint off the lawn, go into my car, and peel out to a safe distance. I call my boss, and he's basically, after I told him what happened, he goes, you're killing me. I was like, well, I'm going to get killed, so yeah. I was like, but listen, across the street is a very similar house. It's the same style. It's also next to the tracks. It's just yellow. Can I do that? Fine, you're killing me. So I go and I knock on the door, and this old lady answers, and her grandson's standing next to her, and she says, we'd be interested, but I have to talk to my husband. Why don't you come in? And the little boy, he's, I think, about 14 years old, and he's very excited, and he's showing me around the house and telling me all these things. And I say to him, it's really nice that you go visit your grandparents. Do you do this often? And he goes, oh, no, I live here. He goes, I haven't seen my mom in a really long time. And I started feeling bad for him. He was a small, scrappy kid, and I was wondering how he fended for himself in this neighborhood, considering I was thinking the same thing about myself, and I was a little bigger. He also never even brought up a father, so I assumed, this guy's not in the picture. And I'm just feeling bad. And then he says to me, I've got the coolest life. I hope this happens. And I was like, yeah? He's like, yeah, I've got this awesome house, and I've got the coolest friends, and I've got clothes, and I've got a computer. I'm like, yeah, man, you've got a cool life. And his grandfather comes in shortly with the McDonald's that he brought the kid because he wanted it. And I go up and I give the grandfather my pitch, and he says no. And the grandson runs up and goes, please, 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 and gives him these puppy dog's eyes. And the grandfather looks at me and says, fine. And we exchange info, and he's like, I can't wait to tell all my friends at school. I'm like, listen, just don't get too excited yet. We have to deal with the director. Anyway, I leave the house, and I get in my car, and about as I get on the main road, I'd say within a mile in, my transmission breaks down. And I've now have to get towed back from Staten Island to Queens. And this whole time, I'm thinking to myself, God, how am I going to foot this bill? Like, I've now got to spend $2,000 on a transmission, and that now kills like all my Christmas plans. And then I think to myself, you know what? This kid would just be happy to have his car, and would probably think it's the coolest thing to ride shotgun in a tow truck up the BQE. Thank you.